Hi guys, Baban on PC here. Today I will be teaching you how to overclock your GPU and get the maximum performance out of your GPU. There is always some good gains to be had. In my experience, from 10 till 25% increase in gaming performance you can expect by overclocking your GPU. Now, GPU overclocking may sound dangerous, may sound, intimidating, but it's really not, since the software that is used right now is really safe and it all has the security for your system in place. So today I will help you get rid of the fear of overclocking your GPU, get the most amount of performance out of it. I will show you now how to do that. First of all, we will need to download two programs. One is the MSI Afterburner. I will leave a link in the description below. Just under the picture you can see here download Afterburner. Click on that, download it. The next program we need is the MSI Combustor. I will leave also a link in the description down below. So download the latest version of it and we are ready to go. Now let's switch to the live screen and I can show you how to do it. Now on the big screen we have here the MSI Afterburner and the MSI Combustor. First off, let's launch the MSI Afterburner. Double click on it. And then we can run the Combustor too. When you hit this little K button, you can get it here. If it doesn't show up immediately here, you can run it from the desktop. To overclock it, when you install the MSI Afterburner, you will end up with this application right here. Now everything is on stock. First thing I want you to do is increase the temperature limit of your GPU to the max. So for me it's 92 and 140% power limit. I run a GTX 1070 Ti, right, like you can see here. This tutorial works for NVIDIA and AMD graphics card. So the MSI Afterburner is really good for any card that you have. So once you increase the limit here, hit the little check mark. Now we can move over to the core clock. Now the core clock I like to increase by 40 at a time. So you can click on this little button here and type in 40 and hit enter. This will make it plus 40. Click on the little check mark and we can now test the overclock. And to test the overclock in the MSI Combustor, we have here a few presets. I have a 1080p monitor, so that's why I'm running the 1080p preset. If you have a 1440p monitor, you run it like that. If you have a 4K monitor, you run the 4K one. So easy enough. After every time we increase, we run the Combustor for 1 minute. This benchmark runs only 1 minute and we are looking for artifacts. If some artifacts started happening on the screen or the Combustor crashes or something like that, that means we have gone, too far with the overclock and we need to dial it down. So to get the maximum performance out of the GPU, not every GPU is the same. Even if you have the same GPU as I do, you might not get the same result. Your result might be lower than mine or even higher than mine. It all depends on the GPU and the GPU silica lottery, I would say. So let's run the benchmark. The benchmark is only 1 minute, so it's perfect for what we are doing right now. Okay, the test has finished. Everything looks good. No artifacts, no nothing. Actually, the MSI Combustor does tell you also the artifacts in the bottom right corner, but you can't see it right now because of my face cam. But it's right next to the GPU power. There's an artifact counter. If you see any artifacts found here, then you need to dial down the GPU overclock. Okay, now the plus 40 worked out perfectly for us. That means we can go up to 80. Type in 80, hit enter and click on apply. And then we will run this over and over and over again. But I forgot to mention something. And that is the fan speed. We need to adjust the fan speed to the user defined. And what I like to do is, like you see here on the down here, there's the temperature of the GPU. So my GPU is running basically at 40% speed up until like 30 degrees, and then once it gets higher, at for example 90 degrees, my GPU fans are just then hitting like 100. I like to have that a little bit different. I like to have that 40% on 20 degrees, 50% on 30 degrees. Then I like to go here at 70% at 54, and then I like the fans to go up to 100% at 70 degrees. So once you have this selected, click on the apply button and click on OK. And now we have the fan ramping up a little bit more, but this will ensure that you keep the GPU really cool. Keeping a cool GPU is very important for overclocking and to get the maximum performance out of it. Every GPU has a sensor in it that notices how high the temperature is. The lower your temperature of the GPU is, the more the GPU will boost. It's not dependent on the overclocking. You know, you can overclock it and get some extra performance, but it will boost even more if the temperature is low enough for the GPU to recognize it's low enough, so it will boost even higher. So you will end up getting a lot more performance by lowering your GPU temperature. Okay, now that that is done, let's push the core clock to 80 and run the benchmark preset again. Nice, this one is finished too, no artifacts, everything looks perfect. Let's bump it up to 120, press enter, hit a little check mark, and let's run the benchmark preset once more. Again completed, no artifacts, nothing crazy happening on the screen, so that means we are fine. Let's push it to 160. So now we are at 160, hit a little check mark, run the benchmark again. Boom. Again, everything looks fine. And like you see, our score keeps increasing as we push the overclock. Already we gained a good amount of points. That means with just a little bit of time, you increase your performance by quite considerable bit. So now let's keep on moving. So we are at 160 and it's still working fine. You might not be able to push as far as this, or might even push higher than this. It all, like I said, depends on the GPU that you get and the GPU lottery, let's say. So that last one was 160. Let's push it to 200. Boom. Hit the check mark. Run the benchmark again. Let's go, baby. Everything still looks good on my end, and we are pushing right now to 2600 points, which is quite nice. So let's see if we can get more out of it. Let's go 240. Boom, hit the check mark. Let's go again. And this is exactly where now the trouble happened. Like you see, everything collapsed. The combustor crashed. This means that 240 for me is unstable. So it crashed. What we need to do from here, when you get to that point, that your combustor crashes, or even the flickering on the screen happens, or something like that, that's when you know this overclock is unstable. So 240 for me is too much, so let's dial it down back to the previous one, which was 200, and apply that one. Now we need to restart after the crash everything, the combustor and the MSI afterburner. Make sure it's not running in the background. Bring up your task manager by hitting Control, Alt and Delete at the same time. So this is the task manager. I don't see MSI working in the background, combustor or even the afterburner, so that's perfect. Now start the MSI afterburner again and start also the combustor. Put it right next on the side too. Now we're back to the core clock of 200, which was stable for me, and we need to do the memory now. The same method as the core clock, just increase it by 100 this time. Since the memory clock usually can go a lot further than the core clock. So hit on the 100, hit on the little check mark, and run the benchmark preset 1080p again. So everything was fine, our scores keep going up. Now guys, to don't drag this video out too long, I will keep increasing the memory by 100 at a time and running the benchmark over and over and over again until I get a crash. When I get a crash, I will let you guys know. For me it was 500 on the memory core and 200 on the core clock of the GPU. So now, what I would suggest you guys do is to run the stress test. Choose a resolution which is your native resolution. For me it's 1080p, and choose here like full screen, and then run the stress test for maybe 5 till 10 minutes. So let it run for 10 minutes. If nothing crashed, it's perfect. If something crashes, then you dial down. For example, I would dial down then 50 on the memory, and I will dial down 10 at the core. So, and just keep lowering it until the stress test manages to run through for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or something like that without crashing. So this will ensure you guys to get the maximum out of your GPU. This will give you quite some improvement in games. You will get a lot of FPS out of this, 5 FPS, 10 FPS, 15, 20, who knows. It all depends on the GPU. So, but this is a easy and free way to increase your performance of the GPU. If you struggle with games, this is how you make it better. You know, it will be more enjoyable. So yeah, that's about it for this video. Guys, if you like this video, please hit a thumbs up. So this will mean a lot for the algorithm and it will push this video to more people. Also comment in the description down below your results. I would love to see them. And yeah, it will be nice to get a conversation started in the comment section too. So that's about it for me. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.